2023 has been a great year for anime that it's kinda hard to pick the best anime this year. Like picking one single show as the best anime is legitimately hard. I dabbled into a lot of different genres this year like NTR, and I've enjoyed a little bit of everything. It was hard to pick the best of the best, but we gotta do it anyway. So I finally made my top 10 best animes list, and remember, this is what supreme taste looks like. The way I'm doing this is that I've selected 10 animes that are going to be the best of this year, and it's not going to include any sequels because I think it's kind of pointless to make the best animes list with the sequels, because I'm sure a lot of you are employed and have a life and watching anime is like a fun little hobby to you, and you're probably watching it to try out new shows, right? But what I will be doing is adding my favorite sequels at the end of the video so you can see how I rank them, because there were a lot of great sequels this year and some of my favorite shows were also sequels. So making a best animes video without mentioning them is a crime. So without further ado, here are my top 10s. But did you know that there's a way to make your anime experience better? Thanks to this video's sponsor, WinxVideo. WinxVideo helps you upscale your anime to 4K so you can watch your anime better than ever. Now you can finally export your anime to crispy 4K without having to worry about low quality and blurry visuals. Not just that, they also offer other cool features like image and video upscaling, video converter, screen recorder, and more. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen to get a 57% off your purchase. Now back to the video. Number 10, we have Zom 100. Zom 100 was an anime I was looking forward to before it was even airing because the manga has a cult-like following, and I always wanted to see what all the fuss was about. It shows zombie apocalypse in a more fun and goofy fashion. It's like Last of Us, but instead of trying to find a cure, these guys are just trying to fuck before they'll eventually become zombies. The anime starts off showing Japan's toxic work culture and how the main character was borderline suicidal because of it, but then a zombie outbreak happens and suddenly he doesn't have to go to work anymore and feels happy for the first time in a long time. Just imagine how bad the work has to be that a zombie outbreak makes his life better. The protagonist of the show, Akira, writes down 100 things he wants to do before becoming a zombie, and it can range from playing sex with Hitler to going back to his parents and spending time with them. This anime has a really good set of characters who complement each other very well, and I really love the colors they use for this anime where blood is replaced with random colors, which works as a sensor and a cool art style. I was kind of disappointed when the anime stopped midway, but they brought it back with 3 amazing final episodes and I enjoyed it overall. And it's definitely something worth watching if you're into shonen animes. At number 9, we have Tengoku Daimakyo. Tengoku Daimakyo is one of the most unique and interesting shows I've seen last year. It does a lot of things and it does it very well. The story is split into 2 POVs. One follows Kiruko and Maru, where they travel through a post-apocalyptic Japan filled with weird monsters trying to find heaven. The other part of the story follows a group of kids inside a high-tech facility cut off from the real world. One of the girls from the facility, named Tokyo, gets a prediction from her friend saying 2 people will come to save them. The story of Tengoku Daimakyo is very interesting and it's slowly revealed to us through slight hints here and there, and most of the storyline comes from the world itself. The world, as I said before, is post-apocalyptic, and the journey Kiruka and Maru goes through to find heaven while meeting different people and seeing different places is definitely one of my favorite parts of last year. The show can get pretty disturbing at times, so keep that in mind. At number 8, we have My Happy Marriage. My Happy Marriage starts off as a very chill slice of life anime that shows the life of Mio Saimori, a girl who's born to a noble family but treated as a slave by her own father and stepmother because her real mother died. The story takes place in an alternate universe in Taisho era of Japan where spirits and magic is real. Each noble families have different magic powers and passing them through their generations is a big deal. But Mio did not inherit any powers, and hence after the death of her mother, even her father decided to pretty much abandon her, just like your father. Mio is living a terrible life and her last chance was to get married and move away from her father, but her hopes of living a good life shatters when she finds her fiance's identity. Kyoka Kudo was a gamer. No, he was a military commander, and known famously for having erectile dysfunction. That his previous to-be brides all fled within 3 days of their engagement, but Mio finds out Kyoka isn't really the person that she thinks he is, and they both slowly open their hearts to each other to find true love and happiness. It's kind of like a Cinderella story adapted into a different style, but it does have a lot of great things going for it, including the calm vibe, great art style, great music, and a set of good and hateable characters alike. The anime goes a little shonen-y and tries to add fights at the end, but it doesn't fall off anywhere and stays strong throughout. A very charming anime of last year. Number 7, we have The Dangers in My Heart. Rom-coms are some of my favorite animes due to how easy it is to watch. Even with my ADHD, I can somehow just turn off my brain and keep watching the lighthearted slice of life romance that's usually going on. The Dangers in My Heart is definitely one of the best rom-com animes to release last year because of how fun it was to watch. This anime started off with this weirdo trying to stalk this girl who loves to snack a lot in the library, and then they fall in love because it's the first time a woman has spoken to him. And from there on, the relationship slowly builds up to them hanging out more and more. It's a romance anime and it has all the cute and dumb stuff that comes along with it. Both of the primary characters are very fun to watch, and it's funny to see Yamada, who's like 6 feet behemoth towering over Ichikawa all the time. Season 2 of this anime is currently airing, and the first episode was really good, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good season. At number 6, we have Jigokuraku. If you're a shonen fan, I'm sure you already know about Jigokuraku, but for some reason, if you don't, it's a great action anime with good characters, like a girl who can sweat cum, and an interesting world. The protagonist Gabimaru the Hollow, which is a cool ass name, is sentenced for execution, but nothing seems to kill him because power of friendship. One of the executioners, Sagiri, gives him an option to be pardoned of his crimes if he can find the elixir of life, which sounds like a ball of sperm, in a cursed island. This island is filled with all sorts of weird monsters, and this anime does not hold back in terms of gore. The fights are all amazing, and the cursed island is an interesting place to learn about all the bizarre stuff that keeps happening, like the girl who can sweat cum. This is animated by MAPPA, and the animation is also really good, even though I wouldn't say it's at the levels of Attack on Titan or some of their other IPs. At number 5, we have Skip and Loafer. Skip and Loafer might be the weirdest pick I have here, and that's valid because I don't think everyone will love it. If you don't have good taste, and that's okay. Good taste is not destined for all. It's a slice of life anime about a girl moving from rural Japanese town to the hustle and bustle of Tokyo. Mitsumi grew up in a small town where only 8 kids went to school, and now suddenly moving to the big city of Tokyo is a big shock for her. Even in the very first day, she got late to school because she got lost, and that's when a guy named Shima helps her out, and they become very good friends. From that day onwards, Mitsumi starts to depend on Shima for the little things that she doesn't understand, and Shima also starts depending on Mitsumi for other things. The story of Skip and Loafer shows how getting out of your goon cave and touching grass is essential in life. Skip and Loafer might not be for everyone, but I believe it's an amazing show that everyone should try watching at least. At number 4, we have Apothecary Diaries. Apothecary Diaries came in pretty late to the party, but it came in with a bang. This anime takes place in Imperial China before social credits and all that, and follows the protagonist Mao Mao, a young girl who loves playing with herbs and drugs, literally Walter White, but sadly she works as an apothecary in the red light district instead of building a drug empire, and was living her usual life until one day some people kidnaps her and sells her to the Imperial Palace as a servant. Even though Mao Mao became a servant, she never dropped her curious and intriguing personality behind and lived her life under the radar without gathering attention. That's until the Emperor's children falls ill one day and she was appointed to find out the cause. And yeah, she does find it out. Starting from then, she solves various mysteries for the Empire and becomes an underrated slapper inside the Empire. It's a great mystery anime that makes you want to keep on watching and see what drug she's gonna pop next. The anime is still currently airing, but I've seen more than enough to say this is one of the best to do it last and this year. At number 3, we got Oshi no Ko. I don't think I need to say how popular Oshi no Ko has become since the anime released early last year. It has become so popular that it's apparently the 3rd most admired figure by kids in all of Japan. Now, I don't know why, but I respect that them kids got good taste. Oshi no Ko's first episode is one of the best first episodes ever made. You can watch the 1 hour long episode like a movie and walk out without watching anything more and still be satisfied. Now, most of you won't because the first episode is so good that you'll definitely want to keep watching. I don't think the latter episodes hit the highs of the first one, but it's still a great show, and it's kind of hard to keep up when you drop a banger like that very early on. I really don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to say anything about this, but the anime has great characters, good animation, and a banger OP that you should definitely watch if you haven't already. At number 2, we got PLUTO. I was actually very confused between selecting number 1 and number 2 because these two were that close. PLUTO is an anime based on one of the most iconic and influential animes to ever exist. Astro Boy. The author of PLUTO, Urasawa, wrote PLUTO from different POV compared to the original Astro Boy arc, and my god is it amazing. That being said, you don't need to know a single thing about Astro Boy or even know what Astro Boy is to understand the show completely and enjoy it. In PLUTO, we are following a detective called Gazisht, one of the 7 great robots of the world. Gazisht is trying to solve the mystery of a string of robots and human deaths around the world where the victims have objects shoved inside them or position their heads imitating horns. The case becomes increasingly confusing when the evidence all leads to a robot being the murderer. Robots killing humans is not something that should happen in this world and is something completely absent from their code base. Now if you're thinking this is going to be the typical robots versus human bullshit, it's not. This might be one of the best portrayals of how robots and humans are going to be in the future apart from sex bots. The writing is done masterfully, the world building, the characters, the politics, it's all so good, and it's genuinely surprising that it all came out of Astro Boy arc. This is one of the best shows I've seen last year and is technically equal to number 1, and you should definitely watch this. At number 1 we got Frieren. Frieren is a manga I've always been a big fan of, and from the moment the anime was announced, I was waiting for it like a father waiting for his firstborn, and nothing else to say other than I'm a proud and happy father. Frieren has been taking over the world recently, and it's for a good reason. This might be the best fantasy anime to ever exist, and that's a huge thing to say for an anime that hasn't even finished airing. Stories like Mushoku Tensei does have its own strengths, but the way Frieren builds its world and tells the story is pretty much unmatched. Literally anyone can watch this anime without knowing a thing about anime and still understand why it's good. And I've heard stories about how Frieren changed their perception of anime being weird. Frieren's story is very tame, and it's not even its biggest strength. Frieren starts off right after a group of adventurers defeat the Demon King, and it shows life of Frieren, an elf who has lived for thousands of years that even 10 years moves like a month for her. Frieren's life is kinda sad because everyone around her grows old and dies whilst Frieren keeps on living, so she never had a bond with anyone because they couldn't live long enough. Frieren's party was the closest thing she had to a family, so she made sure to visit each one of them before their death. These bonds she made leads to her pretty much parenting Fern from when she was a child, and Stark, who's a student of another party member. The characters in the show is the reason Frieren is so special. Even while showing how vulnerable and disposable each of them are, they're written beautifully, and it makes you feel like they're really a part of this world. It genuinely was hard picking between Frieren and PLUTO for the first place, but at the end, Frieren takes my best anime of the 2023 award. So that's my top 10 best animes of 2023, but before we go, here are my favorite sequels of last year. I got 6 of them, and the only reason they're not included on the top 10 is, as I said before, I did not want sequels on here and only wanted original shows that people can check out. So let's go. At number 6, we got Spy Family Season 2. Spy Family might be an NPC pick, but it's still Spy Family, and Spy Family is still very good. It's not doing anything revolutionary, but it's a simple anime that you can recommend to anyone who does not really watch anime. It's as casual as it gets, and Season 2 is still very enjoyable. Number 5, it's Horimiya Piece. Horimiya is one of my few 10 out of 10 animes, and I'm extremely biased. I love that they fucked in the 3rd episode in the season 1, but they sadly didn't in this one. Anyway, Horimiya Piece is like a DLC for Horimiya, and all it does is adapt the missing pieces from the manga. Whoever named this is a genius. And if you liked Horimiya, you will like Horimiya Piece, and if you didn't like Horimiya, then fuck you. Number 4, we got Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. I don't think you really need to watch Season 2 for the story of Jujutsu Kaisen because I can tell you the entire lore just by reading the spoilers on Twitter. And this might be a hot take, but I don't think the story of Jujutsu Kaisen is all that special anyway. But what Jujutsu Kaisen does very well are the fights and incest. I think there was at least a single fight in every single episode this season, and all of them looked beautiful. And if you like Jujutsu Kaisen, then this is probably the peak of it. Number 3, we got Mushoku Tensei Season 2. If anyone asks me what the greatest isekai ever made is, the answer is easily Shield Hero Season 2. But Mushoku Tensei Season 2 is slightly better, thanks to the amazing characters and storytelling. Mushoku Tensei has cemented itself as one of the greatest this genre has to offer, and almost no other anime does world building and characters like Mushoku Tensei does. Even the main character Rudius is so well written, even though he's an asshole. If you like fantasy, isekai, a chill vibe, then Mushoku Tensei is perfect for you, and I recommend watching the season if you're a fan of the series. Also, I was joking about Shield Hero in case you didn't get it. At number 2, we got Attack on Titan Final Season Part 3, Part 4, Part 6 Final Movie. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but we waited a long time for this ending, and was it worth it? fuck yeah, that's why it's on the list. The ending was really well done, to the point the anime is actually the better version of the manga. Not gonna lie, the manga was a bit harder to follow at the end, and the anime explained and showed a lot of stuff better, which made the ending much better for me personally. I wouldn't say it's the greatest ending ever made or anything, because Code Geass exists, but it's still a great final episode to wrap things up. And Attack on Titan is one of those animes that you should watch even if you're not an anime fan. And number 1, we got Vinland Saga Season 2. Vinland Saga Season 2 will teach you have no enemies nor bitches. A lot of people were angry this season did not have fights and it's boring compared to Season 1. All I can say is that you have no taste and you're watching the wrong show. Vinland Saga always want to show that revenge is not the right path to travel through, but media literacy is quite low these days. Season 2 adapts the farming arc, and in my opinion it is the best arc of Vinland Saga, and this adaptation is perfect. Even IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. Now think about that. It's definitely one of the best things I watched last year, and you should too if you haven't already. Anyway, that's my complete list of the best animes that 2023 had to offer. And right now I'm checking out winter 2024 anime, so expect videos on those pretty soon. There are some really good stuff on there, so anyway, that's about it. If you like this video, then consider dropping a like and subscribe to the channel if you think I make good content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.